So, SSD, solid state disk, everyone's, I don't know about their favourite topic, but you can't move for seeing those three letters. So, I just thought I'd spend a couple of minutes here asking a slightly different question. Not so much about the differences between NAND and flash and SLC and MLC and all the other terms you may be reading, hearing and trying to understand, but really just to investigate for a second whether or not everyone knows the phrase, no smoke without fire, and there's clearly a lot of smoke around SSD, but is there real fire, or is it a case of smoke and mirrors, which means, 3 years' time we're going to be saying, whatever happened to SSD? Why did that never take off? So I just want to spend a minute or two focused on that. Everyone knows the number one value proposition of SSD is performance. We've just completed our annual enterprise storage survey, and yet again, that was number one. Reliability actually was high on everyone's list as well. That was a little bit of a surprise because there are so many ways we manage reliability issues on regular disks. But nonetheless, that's what people see as the value from SSD. That, as I say, is in itself no great surprise. Now, the next thing when it comes to value is it really value enough? Is the cost low enough? I have to say, frankly, sometimes even with vendors of SSD, I'm amazed. You hear things like, as soon as we get it down to the price of a 15K fiber channel disk, then we've got a business. I think that's missing the point. The point of SSD is for high value, high performance, high throughput I/O. It's not about capacity, it's about I/O. And nonetheless, in our survey, we asked people what premium, even on a regular price per gigabyte basis, they would be prepared to pay for a solid state disk. Just under 80% of them said anywhere from 10 to 50% premium. So good news for the SSD vendors. And then we all know about the storage hierarchy, and we can stop doing some of those relatively unnatural acts like short stroking if we can put just the small part of our capacity on a high performance I/O like SSD, where we really need it. We know about the economic value of doing that. We know we can use it for databases, for data warehouses, for mailing, for webs. In fact, for any application which is the most important high I/O application in your particular shop. But are any or all of those enough to ensure the success of SSD? I mean, it's a great story, one has to say. I actually think there are 2 or 3 other reasons that we will still be talking about SSD over the coming years, and that it will become a significant technology in the storage marketplace. So the first driving force is the fact that it's not just serving existing I/O better, but the demand for ever increasing and faster I/O is also there. Tie that in a bit with the green aspect of this, the efficiency, the economics efficiency, that we can tie into an overall tiered message. And it makes great sense actually being able to shrink our storage because we can stop doing things like short stroking and put just that little tip of the iceberg of storage onto solid state, whether that's actually as a solid state disk or whether it's in some form of cache on the system, but to get it served so much more efficiently. That's point number one. Point number 2 is that as we speak, the availability of solid-state disks in many forms, flash memory, to use the general term, is improving and is also increasing in terms of ruggedness. Cost is improving, capacities are improving dramatically. The third, and I think the most important fact of why flash memory, and I use that term deliberately, will become important to all of us, is that whether it turns up as an SSD, whether it turns up as cache, whether it turns up used in some other form in a server, it has the backing, the investment, the interest of just about every vendor out there. More than that, it also has, because of those various implementations that I discussed, it has the ability to go in a wide variety of places and serve an equally broad variety of applications. It's not a one-off thing supported by just 1 or 2 vendors for 1 or 2 places. That alone means that over the coming years, SSD, flash memory, in all its forms and factors, is going to be something where there was fire behind the smoke and not just mirrors.